those that are new, welcome to the History of Dance Music page. To the History of Dance Music. I'm DJ Mabel, legacy rave DJ from the 90s and early 2000s. And what we do here is we go over the best of from all the 90s and up to usually 2003, 2004. And this next record is right at the limit of how far I usually go, 2004. This is on a label called Tsunami, which was known for like some harder trance and some like, not like crazy trance, but like trancier stuff. But when I found this record, I realized if you pitch it down, -4 on the turntable, it becomes a different song. This is Green Atlas Circulation. So it's Green Atlas Circulation. The name of the track is Communicate from 2004. I'm going to show you what I mean. I'm going to start it at 0 where I don't like it, and I'm going to slide it slower to to -4. So here we go. Let me know what you think. And welcome if you're new. So that's where it's at now. I don't like it there. I like it here. I think it becomes a whole different song right there. It goes from like a trancey song to a tech house song. We might be getting a little deep tonight. I feel like going deep. And if you're new, these older songs take a little while to progress, so have some patience, take a deep breath, in through the nose, out through the mouth, and let's go on a journey together tonight. I love it deep and dubby. It's my favorite. Sober Bartender, good to see you. Good evening. Sunday, Katie and Hard Machine. What's up, guys? Everybody have a good Sunday. Drama-free Sunday. Moving along. Nice little tech house, trancey kind of hybrid vibe. I like that a lot. That's a good record. Good opener. That is a good opener right there. All right, next up, we're going to go to, I believe it's Lost Language is the record label. Let me confirm that. I believe it's Lost Language. It is Lost Language is the record label. Artist name is Miro, M-I-R-O. This is called By Your Side. And this is the Ian Wilkie remix. And Ian Wilkie makes some cool stuff. The A side of this is just straight up trance, which I'm not a huge fan of, but this is like a dubby kind of breakbeaty thing. So, and Ian Wilkie's got some great stuff. So here we go. Let me know what you think. You can give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down after a few minutes. Wait for it. Chill Sunday, right? Chilling. You gotta go to the dumpling lady. You gotta go to Mott Street in Chinatown. Just walk down Mott. I'll find a couple places for you. Text me privately. I'll hook you up. I'm sure Kara is going to be your hookup on that. Kara probably knows the best places for sure. But you have to have Peking duck, definitely. I'll walk you through it. Break beats. It's a luxurious capacitor. DJ Mabel, welcome to the History of Dance Music Linger. I'm going to tell you exactly what song this is. This is by an artist named Myro, M-I-R-O, and the track is called By Your Side. But the key here is the person who did the remix is Ian Wilkie, and Ian Wilkie makes great music. So if you want to look up his catalog, I suggest that. It's I-A-N-W-I-L-K-E. Wilkie, yeah. Ian Wilkie. And he makes all kinds of really cool stuff. And Neon, when you're in New York, you have to have Peking duck. Mott Street, M-O-T-T Street, is the center of Chinatown. And you'll see the ducks hanging in the window, all crispy and cooked. They're delicious. But I don't want to go too deep into Peking duck stories on my radio show. All right. Next up, I found a Quiver record today that I didn't own, which is amazing. This is Quiver. His name's John Graham. He's one of the most legendary producers ever. The year's not here, but I'm going to take a really solid guess at 1999. This is called She Does, and this is not the main mix. This is Quiver's alternative mix, and this is a nice groove, too. I'm kind of in a groovy zone tonight, so hope you guys are feeling it. Not the normal stuff, kind of like a Sunday vibe. Here we go. Wait for it. And for those that are new, I'm DJ Mabel, legacy rave DJ from the 90s and early 2000s. What we do here is the history of dance music. So I have an extensive vinyl record collection, and I pull a record, I share what I know about it, I have a lot of stories, I'm friends with a lot of the artists, and I kind of go over the history of the music, so we're glad you're here. Did you say poor ducky? Oh my God. That's like the people on when I fish that feel bad for the fish, that have like teeth that kill 1,000 fish a day. Spoon. I'm good. Chilling on a Sunday. I'm honored. How you doing, Mikey? Welcome. Spoon, where are you from again? I forgot. What up, Shamar? Welcome. was Quiver. Quiver's name is John Graham. Super nice guy and made some of the greatest tracks of all time. Made a lot of them. So if you go to Quiver's Spotify or whatever you use, Apple Music, and look up his stuff, he's got a great catalog of music spanning well over 20 years. Next up, we're going to do a Chicane record. If you go way back to the 80s, there's a group called Tangerine Dream, and they're probably accidentally the first trance music producers, but it wasn't called trance back then. It was just a new kind of music. Tangerine Dream's an innovator. Chicane, I strongly think that Chicane was inspired by Tangerine Dream, Love on a Train, because it sounds just like it. This is Chicane from 1997. This is called Sunstroke, and he makes some real beautiful stuff, so give this a listen. Here we go. This is probably one of my favorite Chicane songs. Top 2. Enrique, great to see you, my friend. Mel Mangles. We have Mel Mangles in the house. Clara, you made it home? Neon needs to know how to hit Chinatown properly, so hook her up with Chinatown. Tell her where to go. All right, for those that are new, welcome. I'm DJ Mabel, legacy rave DJ from the 90s and early 2000s. Welcome to the History of Dance Music page. We do something a little different here. I have two Technics 1200 turntables, a rotary mixer, all from the early 90s, and so are most of my records. I pull out a record, tell you stories about them, tell you the history, the label, the year, and we have a good time together. So if you're new, welcome to the family. I think Cara and Neon should meet up for a drink. That would be cool. I'd love to hear this and get some pictures together. It's the first mini meetup. I want full documentation. And for those that are new, we have an awesome WhatsApp chat. We're all friends, as you can see. If you'd like to join our family in WhatsApp, just go to my profile page, send me a message, and say, please put me in the chat, and I'll send you a link to join tonight. Chicane Sunstroke. Next up, I've been thinking about this recently, so I think I like to not go past 2004, 2003, but if the original track was made before 2004 and then a remix was done later that still completely captures the original, I think that qualifies. I think we're allowed to play that on the show. So that being said, there was a huge trance track. And this is trance, but this is when a lot of trance can be cheesy and bad and sound like Simon Says, but this track is actually good. There's good trance and there's bad trance. There's a lot more bad trance, I think, than good trance, but when it's a good trance song, it's amazing. This is Four Strings, Take Me Away, but this is, and that's a classic trance anthem, but this remix was done in 2019 by Dave Nevins, and this guy just killed it. Four Strings, Take Me Away. Sherry, good to see you. Sherry's back, baby. Sherry, you might be part of the family at this point. I think Sherry's in. There you go. Is your first name Dave? played a newer remix if it's almost better than the original, and I believe this one is.
Another day turns into night, eternal fire. Waited all my life, take me away, a million miles away from here. Take me away, find a place for you and me. You're taking me higher, high as I could be. Take me
Proper remix. That's a that's what we call a good trance song, right? That's a good one. When they're good, they're amazing. When they're not good, they're not amazing, to say the least. For those that are new, I'm DJ Ma Bell, legacy rave DJ from the 90s and early 2000s. We're really happy you're here tonight. We're doing something a little bit different on TikTok. We're doing the History of Dance Music radio show. We've been doing it for about 2 months. Most of the people in here are friends. If you're new, introduce yourself. We're all really nice. We don't tolerate any negativity in this room, so it's worked out pretty good. If you want to be in our WhatsApp chat, just send me a message. I'll send you a link after the show. Ask me to be put in the chat. And then there we talk music all day. We share pictures. We share mixes. It's awesome. Next up, we're going to do a track on Yoshitoshi Records, Suite 117. And I love this because all over my arms are 7s and 1s in different languages for reasons I'll talk about another time. But Suite 711, track is called Smaller, killer remix by Dave Aud. Listen to this thing. Such a good track. And if you're younger and you haven't heard this stuff, you have to have a little patience. We can't give you an instant dopamine hit here. You have to have some patience. All these songs are made with music theory and structure and bridges and chorus and transition. So just hang in, okay? We're happy you're here. This drop is so good that comes in a second. I can just imagine this in a huge club, 1,500 people, dark, smoke, and then the lights just flash when the drop hits. Was it at Cahoots? George. Good to see you, George. I would love to hear something funny. Hit me. Such a good track. And for those that are new, if you don't know who George Acosta is, go Google his name, and then you will. And George is going to do a comeback serious trance studio live set coming up. It's going to be amazing. No. So maybe you got through 2 or 3%, bro. That's amazing. I'm sure you found some ridiculous records. Let me know if you need to be rescued. What's up, Attempt? Welcome. Happy you're here. We all know Oscar G. User, you know who George is, right? George is a legend, bro. Legend. Here we go. We got some new people here. If you're new, welcome to the History of Dance Music. I'm here at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every night. My name is DJ Ma Bell. I DJ'd for 20 years, from 1990 to, 2003. I did a mic drop in 2003, walked away, kept all my records, and 20 years later, I think it's the perfect time to do a old school show with old school turntables, with an old school rotary mixer, with an old school person. I'm not 20 years old with fake boobs and jumping around with no clothes on with to auto sync. We do the opposite of that here. We actually get into the music, not myself. So, that being said, I've been obsessing about this record for 6 weeks because I found a pristine copy of it. I can't stop playing it. I don't care if I play it every show. I don't care. I'm going to play it because I love it. Probably one of my favorite clubs ever was Twilo in New York City. Twilo was on 27th Street, West 27th in New York, and it was home to Sasha Indigui, Junior Vasquez. It was one of the greatest sound systems ever in any club ever, and there was something about the energy in Twilo, something about the coolness. It's so hard to explain. It wasn't like it was cool. It was super cool, and it was deep and it was dark, but it was not in a bad way, in a good way. And this is by a group called Kilohertz, and this is called West on 27th. Aptly named because Twilo was on 27th. It was on West 27th. And this is from 2000, and this is just such a good song. I don't know what the definition of tech house is today, but I'll tell you right now, if you want to know what tech house really is, this is tech house. So whatever anybody tells you, I don't care what they say, this is tech house. And the older songs take a little while to evolve, so have some patience, okay? Hang in there. I promise every song will pay off. It might take 4 minutes or 5 minutes. But we got nothing but time tonight. Oh, thanks, Spoon. I think this is me and Kara's favorite song of like the last 2 months. It's a Rane MP 2016. It's an old rotary mixer from the early 90s. And they made it to copy the Yuri, because the Yuri is like the one. But there's so few left in the world. I'm a turntablist. I don't even know how to use CD players. All I know is turntablism. And there's a difference between being a turntablist and also being a DJ. They're two completely different things. Cherry, yeah, it's the only way. Thank you, Jenny. It's good to see you. Thank you for being here. Lexicon Avenue. I kind of broke my own rule there, right? I wanted to spin, but that's not really what we're doing here. So I'm going to introduce the record again because this is an important record. This record was a Danny Tenaglia staple for many years at the Tunnel. This is by Mike, Mike, and it's called Deepest Jungle. And on the other, there's never been a record that sounded like this. I think it's so cool when you have records like this is like a tech house record, but this particular sound, this particular production is unique forever. Nothing's ever sounded like this. So let's give that another listen. Here we go. And you can just imagine the Tunnel, New York City, 1997, dark. It's a subway tunnel, and Danny Tenaglia is playing this dark music, and it's such a thing. saw Danny three times this year. I saw him at Space. I saw him. I drove to Orlando to see him, and I almost ended up at like a pop-up party with Danny Tenaglia where he played for 50 people. It was amazing, and that was at Treehouse in Miami Beach. Yeah, he's amazing. And he played the Twilo. He played the Twilo reunion a few weeks ago. And Cara was there. Cara went to the Twilo reunion.
When we last left our intrepid explorers, they were in search of their lost associate in the wildest depths of the Congo.
Clara, were you better on the flight home than the flight down?
Jeeves, we've been wandering for days. You haven't turned up hide nor hair of withers.
Listen, Colonel, up in the trees.
Good Lord, man!
Withers, no!
Penny, what's up? Good to see you. The headphones are the Sonys from 1993. This is an exact replica of my DJ booth. I was a resident DJ for like 2,000 people a night for 7 years, and this is an exact replica of that. I had like a midlife crisis a few years ago. Yeah, let me know if I don't answer questions because I don't see it, so... Neon, you can be my eyes and ears. right, that was Mike, M-I-K-E, Deepest Jungle. So I have an idea. I'll call your bluff, okay? So Dave's playing in Nashville on Friday. I just talked to him today. He just played Mexico City last night. He said it was unbelievable. That was M-I-K-E with a period after each letter, M period I, and it's called Deepest Jungle. And my challenge to Brandon and Neon is that if you guys want to go see Dave on Friday in Nashville, I'll drive up and I'll meet you and we'll all go together and we'll go in for free and we'll hang out in the DJ booth. There's your challenge, and I'm not kidding. So next up, we are going to do, is it Hopper? We're going to do, the artist is Staircase, and the year is 2001. And I just bought this today. I bought a new old record. It's called Undecided, which is the perfect name for this record because let's decide if we like this or not, okay? Right now we're undecided. Don't give me a thumbs up or thumbs down until we're 2 or 3 minutes in, maybe 4 minutes. And let's see if we're right now we're undecided. Let's see if we decide if we like this or not. Here we go. Well, that's not going to work. Okay, we canceled the plans. That was quick. Tony Moran, I know. Roland sounds familiar, but I'm not super familiar. House guys, right? Straight up house. Yeah, wait. You only have one chance to make a decision. This didn't even start yet. Don't do a thumbs up or thumbs down yet. It just started. Yeah, but Mel, just wait. Mel, breathe. Mel, breathe. No, this is Tech House. Everything sounds better with the headset. Yeah, if you have earbuds, you need to put them in. If you have speakers, turn them up. If you have a phone, it's not going to be good. If you're new, welcome. I'm DJ Ma Bell. This is the History of Dance Music radio show. We do it every night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're new, we go over old records from the 90s, early 2000s, the best vinyl ever made. So if you want to learn about the history of the whole EDM scene and where it all came from, you're in the right place. Welcome to the family. good. Nice. Yeah, you got to always listen with the earbuds. A lot of the stuff I play is bass heavy. If you're not hearing the bass, you're not hearing the song. Sourpuss, good choice. Good choice. I'm definitely giving it a thumbs up. Did Mangles melt? Did you make your decision yet? Oh, by the way, Neon, you just called her Muggles, which is awesome. So we're going to call her Muggles from now on. Muggles. Well, I think if I was going to pick one era, one bracket of time, from 97 to 2001 was the best section of music. But there's so much. There's so many songs. Perfect. Thanks, Muggles. I haven't heard of that. What is that? I really like this record. Welcome to those that are new. Welcome to the History of Dance Music page. I'm DJ Ma Bell. We came up with a little something different here. I have thousands and thousands of records from my DJ career back for 20 years, from 1990 to 2003, and here we share all the best vinyl that I own, which is I think a large chunk of the dance music history. As the owner of my club, I had a 7-year residency that was a dream come true in Hartford, Connecticut, and the owner of my club was this wild, crazy guy who I love like a brother. And he was almost like Joe Pesci from Goodfellas, this crazy Italian mobster guy. And we just went through the wildest times together. He was the owner. I was the DJ. He was wild. I was wild. It was the craziest years of my life. And I haven't heard from him in 20 years. And this show ended up on one of his friend's algorithms. His friend reached out to him, and we spoke on the phone today for the first time in 20 years. And that was such a cool thing. That was amazing. And right around the same time, 1999, I bought this record, and this record never got really popular, but it should have. Does that make sense? This is like, I think for the time, for the 1999 trance, this is a hit record that no one ever heard, and you're going to hear it now. This is by a group called Fire and Ice, and this is called Never Ending Melody. Here we go. And keep in mind, this is 27 years old, and everything after this did not exist yet. Think about that. Nothing existed. Not cell phones, not EDM festivals, not corporate BS parties. It was all kind of new. It was so special. No, I'll tell you this story how I started after the song. And in retrospect, I was also in the right place at the right time. After this song, I'll tell you my experience with how I started. Awesome, man. Yeah. Let's go. so much. want me to tell you like the not too long, but you want me to tell you the whole story about how I started DJing? Okay, so let me try to be as descriptive as I can, because it's the way I started DJing is so much different, and everything happens so much differently than like what happens today. So there was there was house music, there was Chicago house, there was all that stuff, but there was no techno really. Okay, imagine a world. There's no techno, there's no cell phones, there's no CDs yet. Okay, CDs don't exist, and I go to I'm in like 11th grade. I'm in high school still. And I had this friend, John Merrill. And John Merrill was a nice kid, but one day he took too much LSD and he like never came back. He was one of those guys. He was like my age, 17 years old. He was a really weird kid. Nice kid, harmless, but weird. And we were all friends. He was in our circle, right? So he lived at his parents' house. I lived in Boca Raton, Florida. And I just go over his house one day to hang out with him. And I walk in his room, and he's got two Technics 1200 turntables, and he's playing these records, okay? And I was like, those are record players? Like, they still make those things? He's like, oh, man, there's this, like, crazy music coming over from England, this, like, stuff called techno. And it's like this the thing happening, and he's like playing with these turntables. So I'm like completely fascinated by this. I'm completely fascinated that they still make record players, and you can actually like manipulate them and like do that stuff. I was like amazed, like freaking amazed. So I would go over his house every day after school, and we would just sit there and just practice and practice and practice and practice. And it became 6 hours a day, 8 hours a day, 2 days a week, 3 days a week, 4 days a week. And the whole goal was to mix the records together for as long as you can. And the difference with turntables, the challenging part, is that it's always drifting, okay? So here's the pitch on the record. This is slower and this is faster because it's always drifting. It's never auto-synced. It's always drifting. And the whole thing with DJing is you have to just touch the plate a little bit to auto-correct which way. You have to keep the beats right on top of each other. They have to be exactly on top of each other. If they fall off a little bit, the best analogy we came up with, it sounds like shoes in the dryer. Okay, or we used to call it a train wreck. All right, so the whole goal was not the train wreck. It was like a challenge. Then another one of my friends came over, and another one of my friends, and for like 2 years we sat in this kid's room and just got nasty. And every time someone would come close to train wrecking, we'd like be, come on, don't train wreck. It was a whole thing, right? This was my whole life, and I didn't realize that I was in the right place at the right time as far as a movement was about to happen in dance music, and I was positioned perfectly for it. But I didn't start to be a DJ. I didn't even know what a DJ was. There was no rave scene. It was like barely a rave scene started. I just loved playing with these things and learning and mastering the craft of this whole thing. So I got to the point where I could put two breakbeat records together, mix them, and get them so accurate that even though it's drifting, if I would get it so good, I would go to the kitchen and get a drink while the two records were playing together. I'd come back and they'd still be together. That was like that blew my friends away. So it was like a hazing kind of thing. Like we all wrote each other, and it went on for years, and we got really good. Well, wouldn't you know? It just so happens that dance music just started, right? It just started to happen. These records were coming over from England that were crazy sounding in like 92, 93, and it was like techno and trance, and it was this crazy stuff. And then all of a sudden these raves started to come up. So it's not like I wanted to be a DJ like today. I want to be a DJ, and everybody's a DJ, and auto-syncing you're a DJ. This was completely opposite. This was talent-based. It was, we put so many years into learning this that you got booked based on your talent. So I found a place. I heard about a guy in California that made red cassette tapes and blue cassette tapes. No one had red cassettes and no one had blue cassettes. And I had already been DJing for about a year and a half. I was friends. I would go to all the raves, and I was friends with everybody. And I got these red and blue cassette mixtapes that were red and blue, and it said DJ Ma Bell for bookings call. And I was like a young kid, and I was fired up. And I'm running around these raves giving out these tape cassettes to everybody, just fired up. Like youthful energy. Now I'm an old man. Back then I used to say I was on a musical mission. And I got like my first, after all these tapes and all this BSing I was doing, I got this first gig to play at some club in West Palm Beach. The last DJ of the night, I was from like 7 to 8 in the morning, and I was sleeping in the parking lot, and I was a nervous wreck, and I had pit in my stomach, and I went in and I did that party. So, from there it grew, and I ended up playing like 50 raves, and I ended up moving to South Beach, and I had a radio show on a pirate station called 107.1 The Womb, and then I worked at Specs, and all this stuff happened. But my point is, I put so much work and so much time, so many thousands and thousands and thousands of hours into turntablism, okay? That's what this is. This is not DJing. This is turntablism. I also happen to be a DJ, okay, because I'm a turntablist. But I put so much time and energy into this. Then I moved to Connecticut. In Connecticut, it was the dream gig of a lifetime. It was 7-8 years, 2,000 people a night. MDMA hit for the first time ever. It was the whole thing. It was on, and it was the dream come true. But what happened was, as that started to come true, I did it for 8 years. CDs started to come in. I used to mix CDs because you were still mixing. We had this Denon 2400 CD mixer that had pitch bending and sliders, so it was still talent-based. And then in 2003, I was fried, burnt out. My clubs were shut down by the state attorney. It was on CNN National News about my clubs. It was a whole big thing. And I ended up walking away. But when I walked away, that's exactly when digital came in. And so what happens today for me is I watch these kids with these laptops that auto-sync. Auto-sync is, I put so many years into this thing, auto-sync just took it away from me, right? And when you're auto-syncing, there's nothing to do. I don't have time to talk on the mic when I'm mixing. I am so laser-focused on not messing up because it's such a delicate thing. If I touch the plate the wrong way for a second, it's a train wreck. Okay, so I have to say to myself, which way do I pull it? Do I push it this way a little bit, or do I pull it this way a little bit? And if I'm wrong one time, it's a train wreck. So it's very intense. I don't have time to jump around and dance. But when you auto-sync, okay, it literally does all that automatically by computer. What are you going to do? When you hit the auto-sync, there's nothing to do. You just either stand there. I guess you got to jump around like a monkey, right? So I'm very kind of resentful that this talent, this skill was taken away from me. And I think it's run its course because what happened was it became so silly, okay, that I'm sure you guys have seen the TikToks with like the hot girls that are like pretending. They get caught pretending to hit buttons. They're not even hitting buttons. And it's so gross. And the corporations came in. There was a corporate takeover of all the parties. It became so stupid. My analogy is like, when disco was real popular in the 70s, disco eventually got played out. And at the end of the disco era, Ronald McDonald was doing disco commercials and Ethel Merman was doing commercials for disco. That's, I think, where the dance music scene is now. I think it's tired. I think people are disgusted. And that's exactly why I started this radio show, because we got to get back to basics. It needs to be talent-based, okay? Not likes on Instagram-based, not how good-looking you are, not how big your boobs are, not throwing cakes into a crowd. It needs to be based on the talent that I put thousands and thousands of hours into, and every DJ should be based on their talent. And there's one guy, James Hype. I watch him. I don't like his music, but he's talented. He's doing tricks. He's doing stuff with those CD players. That's a talent, and I think it needs to go back to that. So that's my rant. I hope you enjoy it. Now we're going to go to one of the classic 1999 anthems of all time by Bedrock, which is John Digweed and Nick Muir. And I'm sure you know John Digweed from Sasha and Digweed. This is Bedrock, Heaven Sent. And this is another track that started a revolution. Thank you for listening. Oh, and a couple things. I have a YouTube channel. This whole show is being recorded. Every show is now recorded and put on my YouTube channel. It's at DJ Mabel, so you can get all the episodes there. And if you want to be in our WhatsApp chat, come join us. It's a positive, fun experience. We're all really nice. We share photos and stories, and we all talk to each other all day. Just go to my profile page, send me a message, and I'll add you to the chat. We're happy you're here. What up, Jersey? Bergen County? Neon, you're awesome. You're a legend in my mind. You're a 3D printing legend. Bedrock Heaven Sent, 1999. Well, I got the flux capacitor, so maybe we can figure out how to get back there. What's up? What's up, Beaver Boy? Good to see you. Today's music sounds like that Simon Says game with the lights. Dun, 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 dun. Actually, the song I'll play next will be a good example of how much better the music used to be. right, for those that are new, welcome to the History of Dance Music. I'm DJ Ma Bell, old fart DJ from the 90s, early 2000s. So that was Bedrock, which is John Digweed and Nick Muir. And you know Sasha, right? So Sasha and Digweed, I'm sure we've all heard of Sasha and Digweed. So Digweed's, this is a little trancey, but Digweed's usually a harder sound. Sasha's always been more of a dreamy sound. Years ago, he was on the cover of UK magazine. I think it was DJ Mag, and it said, "If God was a DJ." And it was a picture of Sasha. And that's a classic story. But this song, his album from 1999, his keyboardist and engineer and producer is a guy named Spooky, who I'm friends with. And I've been playing this side, which is Bell Funk, forever, and I've never played the hit record on the show. So this is Sasha Expander, okay? Do me a favor. If you've never heard this before, give it a second, okay? The production value on these older records is 1,000 times better than the production value today. So listen to how the song evolves. This is Sasha Expander. So that was called an intro. This is called a breakdown. Then there's a chorus, a bridge, back into the chorus. It's called music theory, and all songs are made the same. You're totally right. The silver CD, the triple CD was great. Sasha Expander. way better than a Simon Says song, huh? Da, 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 da. Good night, Katie. Great to see you. Thanks for joining us. That was Sasha Expander from 1999. Moses, in a little while, you want to try to do what we did last night and try it again, where I add you to this chat? I think we should try that again. All right. So that was Sasha. Let's go back to Digweed, okay, to see the contrast, because it's equally as good. It's just different. And just so you know, Spooky, the artist Spooky, does all Sasha's keyboards and his engineering. He's really the amazing, talented engineer behind a lot of these songs. So now that was Sasha. Let's go back to John Digweed. This is Heller and Farley. This is called The Rising Sun, and this is the Bedrock mix. So this will really show you the contrast between Digweed and Sasha, and it's amazing. Yeah, let's try that again. Maybe it'll work this time. And guys, in a little while, I'm going to DJ Moses. Take note of DJ Moses. I'm going to end the show and add him to the show, and he's going to take over. And if for some reason it doesn't work, just go directly to his page. If we're so old that we can't technically figure it out, go to Moses' page after my show and support him. He's same history as me. We had to have met each other back in the day, but we had the same circles, the same DJ friends, and he's a great DJ and really knows his music. So listen how great this track is. Listen how it builds so beautifully and it's so simple. Yeah, we did it last night. It's just there was a connection. It was coming through a little fuzzy. Zorb, where do you live, and are you a male or a female? Two legitimate questions. Great song, but Digweed's always deeper and darker. Gonna like this one. It almost sounds like Kilohertz. I'll check. I'm gonna guess 2000 or 2001, but I'll check when it's over. It goes there too. It progresses beautifully. I'll ID it again after the song. I didn't block you. Thank you, Vincent. Appreciate you. For those that are new, I'm DJ Ma Bell. Welcome to the History of Dance Music radio show, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every night. We showcase the best dance music, which is mostly behind us. 90s, early 2000s, tech house, breakbeat, digweed, bedrock. Beautiful track. Coming up shortly, we're going to have DJ Moses do a guest spot tonight, so stay tuned. I gotta wait till I take it off the plate. I promise I'll ID it. Thank you, Electro Monkey. That's awesome. Thank you so much for the support. All right, you guys ready for the track ID? We'll give you the track ID. Here we go. I forgot it, so I'm going to take it off the plate. That's why I didn't tell you guys. The track is by an artist called Darude, and it's called Sandstorm. And that's a joke. That's not who it is. I'm sure there's a couple people laughing that know their music. Artist is Heller and Farley, Heller, and Farley, Farley. It's called The Rising Sun, and it's the Bedrock remix. Okay, you got it? Heller and Farley, The Rising Sun, Bedrock remix. Next up, one of my favorite Secret Weapons, Tech House Slammer from 1999, Transcender. I haven't played this in a while. Transcender rock music, and I love the name of this remix. It's the Brusharo and Asher Suicide Sports Dub. That's a pretty creative name. Suicide Sports Dub. So here we go. This is what we call, if you want to know what Tech House is, I think it's gotten lost through the years and they've relabeled it and repackaged it. This is Tech House. And this is not Castles in the Sky. That was the last song. I don't know if it's a 45 or a 33. We're going to find out. And I think we'll bring Moses in next. Moses, get ready. I'm going to try to figure this out. What do? I hit the two-person thing, and I add Moses? Who knows how to do this stuff? Techno Go-Go, where have you been? I've had separation anxiety. I was wondering about you the last few days. I'm glad you're here, man. Moses sees the request. Okay. So Moses, after this song, towards the end, I'll tell you the request, and then I'll accept it. See if we can do this right tonight. And I'll be here tomorrow night at 7:30. After the song, we're going to bring DJ Moses. Give him support. He's part of my family. He's a great DJ, great music from the old school. Okay, I'll let you know when. I highly suggest joining our WhatsApp chat. Go to my profile page, send me a message, and say, please put me in the chat, and I'll send you a link in a little while. And we talk music all day. We share pictures, mixes. It's awesome. And also, my YouTube channel I started yesterday is at DJ Ma Bell. Every minute of every show will be up there in high-quality audio and video. Okay. I love you guys. Thank you so much for 50K. I feel really important now. So close, so What if I at 50,000 I just explode? I just blow up. I can feel it. Oh, you did it. Thank you. Now I'm a better person. I love you guys. Thank you for all the support. You guys are amazing. This is fun, huh? A positive room on the internet. Can you believe it? All positive. Thanks, guys. Do I do some kind of dance now or something? Take my shirt off and dance? Katie, appreciate you. All right, it's almost time for Moses.